This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
I'm Sarah Donchi. Juliette has this Friday off. A more than 100-year-old housing policy may be coming to an end, and it could bring big changes to Berkeley's landscape. The city council approved rezoning almost the entire city to make room for taller buildings and more housing. But as Dahlin shows us, reaction to that is mixed.
Building up is one way to create more housing in a city that doesn't have much vacant land. Supporters of the zoning change say it'll make housing more affordable, but opponents say it will increase traffic and change Berkeley's character. This Berkeley Hills renter would like to own a home one day, but Andrea Horbensky says even with a PhD and a strong educational background, home ownership feels out of reach.
I could not afford one of these houses, and I don't think that is going to change, so have to hopefully build different housing, new housing, smaller size that I could afford.
That's why she spoke in favor of the so-called middle housing ordinance at Thursday night's Berkeley City Council meeting.
And the more the merrier, the more housing there is, the more prices will come down, the more things will be more affordable for more people.
Councilwoman Rashi Kashawani pushed for the zoning change. She believes it will help create more housing for middle-class workers by making it easier to build duplexes, triplexes, and three-story buildings.
With the ordinance that was passed last night, these types of units will get a streamlined by right approval. So if they meet the development standards, they don't go above 3 stories, and they have setbacks and open space, they can get approved over the counter.
The Bay East Association of Realtors reports of the 66 single-family homes sold in Berkeley last month, the median price was over $1.8 million.
With what we're projecting in terms of 50 to 100 homes per year, that's an incremental change, so it will give us the opportunity to adapt and adjust.
But opponents say it goes too far.
Why Berkeley, which is already so densely populated and already so hard to get around in? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
The longtime resident Clifford Fred and some of his neighbors worry more people will lead to more traffic and lower quality of life. He says it's already hard to find parking in his neighborhood.
Older people who don't have driveways, people need their parking spaces. I don't think it's selfish for people to have parking spaces near their home.
Opponents also argue the zoning change doesn't require affordable housing to be included. But supporters like Andrea believe smaller condos could mean smaller price tags.
I think eventually I'll be able to get to a place where I could have, a condo or, a unit in one of these sort of, missing middle type places.
The City Council will hold a second reading in July, basically a second vote for formality. They expect the zoning change to go into effect in November.
The new rules would not apply to the Berkeley Hills because of fire evacuation concerns. Sacramento approved a similar zoning change last year, becoming the first city in the state to do that. And Santa Rosa is considering something similar. Now to today's Supreme Court decision in the birthright citizenship case. The justices sidestepped the issue of whether the Trump administration can end a right which is guaranteed in the Constitution. But they did say that federal judges don't have the authority to issue nationwide injunctions to block a presidential order. It was a 6-3 decision. The justices split along ideological lines. Many of President Trump's executive orders, including the repeal of birthright citizenship, have been halted with these nationwide injunctions issued by federal judges. Today's ruling could have much more far-reaching implications because President Trump says his administration will now move forward with implementing those blocked orders. As for the birthright citizenship order, it's only expected to be implemented in the 28 states that did not challenge President Trump's ban. San Francisco city attorney was among those who expressed disappointment today.
Again, we could bring lawsuits on behalf of San Francisco and California. Others could bring them around the country. But in this instance, where we've had lawsuits where we have won in court case after court case, what the Supreme Court is saying is a national injunction may not be appropriate. So for the millions of Americans who live in jurisdictions that are not covered by these courts, they will not have these protections.
We also heard from the great-grandson of Wong Kim Ark, the San Francisco-born man whose fight to be recognized as a U.S. citizen 127 years ago established birthright citizenship in the U.S.
We are both Americans, but unlike him, my citizenship has never been challenged. His willingness to stand up and fight made the difference. For his struggles, my humble thanks. We must stand together. We are a nation of immigrants. What kind of nation are we to be? With stateless children born to no country.
So one possible workaround to this ruling is the filing of class action lawsuits, which many immigrant rights groups did today. We have seen the videos of stores broken into and damaged over and over and over again. But it turns out crimes like these may not only be hurting businesses in Oakland, but also the city's bottom line. Our Kara St. Cyr has more on a new study that says a lack of public safety is directly impacting Oakland's budget crisis.
We have some shrimp tacos and fish tacos too. It's feel very terrible, and then like I said, it's very stressful to trying to run a business and having so many robberies.
Osvaldo Sanchez's restaurant in Oakland has been broken into 22 times between 2016 and 2024.
We changed the lock because he also was broken so many times that the lock didn't work anymore, so we had to change that.
Each break-in cost him thousands of dollars, fixing windows and doors. But he also loses out on customers.
People are feeling unsafe, they don't want to go out to eat because they're not feeling safe.
A new report from the Bay Area Council Economic Institute shows that crime like Sanchez experiences is linked to Oakland's budget crisis.
Oakland can't get out of its budget crisis if it doesn't first solve its public safety crisis.
Jeff Belisario, one of the authors of the report and the executive director of the council, says data shows that Oakland's budget woes often keep police underfunded, which he says comes with dire economic consequences.
More than half of Oakland residents are actually leaving the city to do their shopping, right? So that has an impact on sales tax. When we ask people across the East Bay how they feel about Oakland, nearly 3/4 say they're avoiding Oakland's restaurants, bars, entertainment options because they don't feel safe.
The report highlighted 13 recommendations, including suggestions for loosening police oversight and increased funding for OPD, something Sanchez thinks would help his business.
If there is more secure on the streets, more police outside, I think that's also going to help a little bit in terms of robberies. More secure, more secure for the city.
For him, the report was a validation of what he's experienced. And he says change can't come fast enough.
Police reform groups have been critical of the report, saying they disagree with the conclusions formed by the Bay Area Council Economic Institute. Some undercover stings by San Jose police led to a huge haul of illegal fireworks. Police arrested 3 people and seized more than 3,000 pounds of illegal fireworks between 2 homes and a storage facility on West Capitol Expressway. Officers also found about 50 improvised explosives, which they say are hundreds, if not thousands of times more powerful than commercial-grade fireworks.
These people are distributing dangerous items. They could end up in the wrong hands. They could cause injury, major injury, and potentially death. While we want everyone to enjoy the 4th of July holiday and the weekend with their loved ones, we want them to celebrate responsibly and legally.
Police say they hope to make more arrests as the investigation continues. The Valkyries have grown a huge following as the WNBA's newest team. How they're making space for queer women in their fan base.
We just got this brilliant moment to all meet up somewhere where we all belong and we can all fit.
And Oakland's airport is changing its name again, but will it clear up confusion?
As we head into the last weekend in June, temperatures warmed up to about 4 to 8 degrees above average, at least inland, mid-80s in San Jose and low to mid-90s for Santa Rosa and Concord. We'll keep some of that heat around as we head into the actual weekend. We've got details on that and a cool 4th of July forecast coming up in First Alert Weather.
Right now, San Francisco's 22nd annual Trans March is underway. Since 3 this afternoon, people were gathering at Dolores Park in the Mission to enjoy music and community before the march down to the Tenderloin. Organizers say, unlike the Pride Parade on Sunday that's all about celebration, they do want to make sure that people know this march is an act of resistance.
It's powerful to see people begin to come together to show a force, and it gives me fuel for my revolutionary optimism that says there is a time where we will be free from systems of oppression.
The march is roughly 2 miles from Dolores Park, ending around 8 p.m. at the corner of Turk and Taylor. It is followed by an after party at El Rio beginning at 9 in Bernal. It is also Pride Night for the Golden State Valkyries tonight at Chase Center, and queer fans are celebrating the team for welcoming them, not just during Pride Month, but all season long. Our Kelsey Thorud has that story.
For many LGBTQ people, specifically queer women, going to a Valkyries game is an experience unlike much else.
You know, it's the representation to see ourselves being able to come out and be a part of the community with just ease and joy.
Queer women have long made up a significant portion of the WNBA fan base. Recent studies show upwards of a quarter of all WNBA fans identify as lesbians.
It's not surprising at all. We just got this brilliant moment to all meet up somewhere where we all belong and we can all fit, and come together and celebrate.
Audacious Wilson and Valerie Trout are two Valkyries super fans doing what they can to connect the LGBTQ fan base.
You know, kind of a meetup so that people can come out, enjoy the games, the away games especially.
And they're not alone. Since the Valkyries season started, several LGBTQ fan groups have popped up, including the Valkyries, headed up by Megan Doherty Baker.
It just feels like this could be kind of big in terms of how many numbers we've got and the diversity that the group can have and what it can look like and all the different ways that we can engage and connect with each other. It kind of feels like sky's the limit right now.
The Valkyries have already hosted several events and are planning more and more every week. As someone who's been a basketball fan for decades, Lucy Bledsoe told me it's wonderful to see both the connections fans are making with each other and the support the WNBA is giving to their LGBTQ fan base.
It's amazing. I remember the early women's professional leagues where they tried really hard to say, hey, we're straight, we're straight. I literally saw, I think it's the Pioneers did a game where at halftime they did a heterosexual marriage. You know, they were so afraid of the queer audience, and now they're just opening their hearts and doors.
Every WNBA team is hosting a Pride Night this season, including the Valkyries. It's something fans love to see and hope will help to create lasting connections long after the season ends.
It's unreal, it's unbelievable that this arena, this platform is giving us this space to build so much more community.
We are so excited to have you watch our Pride special this Sunday on Pix Plus. We have been hard at work on this project. We're going to highlight members of the LGBTQ community who are making a big difference here in the Bay Area. This all starts at 10 a.m. Sunday on Pix Plus. All right, obviously, Pride weekend is a weekend of activities we saw starting today. Weather seems to be cooperative.
It's going to be pretty good. I mean, there's going to be some fog in the city. It's late June. It's what we expect, June gloom, and then no sky July. But there's going to be some sunshine peeking through. Temperatures should be pretty close to normal for this time of year, so no interference, at least, from Mother Nature. No windy conditions like we had last weekend. Let's take a look at how things are going to shape up here in the big picture. And what we're going to see overall is the warmer than average pattern for most of the Bay Area continuing as we head into the weekend. So that inland heat especially is going to be just in place for tomorrow and even on Sunday, even though our temperature's back down a bit. This is the temperature representation from today, and you can see all that heat through the Central Valley. But let's jump to Monday, and you notice a big change. The marine air gets farther and farther inland around the Bay Area, and even the heat in the Central Valley is going to subside to at least some extent. It never really fully goes away this time of year, but everybody's in for a cool down as we head towards the 4th of July. We'll get into that in just a second. Looking outside right now, well, we still have that inland warmth. I think you can even call it heat in Concord. 90 degrees still as of 7 p.m. Still holding on to around 80 degrees in Livermore and Santa Rosa. You're back down to the low 70s in San Jose, so back to windows open weather and cooling off rapidly in San Francisco, down to 60 after a high temperature for the first time all month of 70 degrees in the city. Now we've dropped about 10 degrees and temperatures will level off in the low to mid 50s for most of us by early tomorrow morning. Let's track the fog, which is redeveloping at the coast as we speak, but it's really going to be confined to the coast for most of tonight. later. After midnight, it's going to make a little run across the bay into the Berkeley Hills and some push into the North Bay valleys, but it's not going to take long once the sun comes up for that fog to back up to along the coast and even pulling away from the coast as we head towards late morning tomorrow. The additional sunshine not going to warm temperatures up to any great extent right along the coast, but away from the water, temperatures are going to be on the toasty side once again. Let's take a look at those forecast highs for tomorrow. And in the Santa Clara Valley, we're going to see highs ranging from the upper 80s in San Jose. It's running about 4 or 5 degrees above normal, to the low 90s in Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. Also about 4 or 5 degrees above normal east of the Oakland Hills, into the low to mid 90s, maybe a degree or two cooler than today, but still in the 80s for Fremont and Redwood City. And temperatures in San Francisco and Oakland, 60s and 70s, just 1 or 2 degrees above normal. So that's kind of the theme. 1 or 2 degrees above average by the water, about 4 to 6 degrees above average farther inland, which means you go from the 70s in San Rafael to the mid 80s for Petaluma and Santa Rosa to the low 90s in Healdsburg, the farther inland you go. Weather for the Pride Parade on Sunday is looking pretty good overall. I would expect plenty of low cloud cover and fog, but I think as we head into the afternoon, we are going to see more and more sunshine peeking through, with temperatures climbing up into the low to mid 60s by Sunday afternoon, maybe a touch below average in San Francisco. But for the second half of the weekend, other parts of the Bay Area are still going to be on the warm side. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland, where we're going to see the most variation in our temperatures over the next several days, from the 90s to the 80s, and then to the 70s by Thursday and Friday. Mid 70s for the 4th of July. That is unusually cool for inland parts of the Bay Area, but that's the way things have been trending for a little while now. And that cooler than normal pattern is generally associated with a deeper marine layer and a more stubborn bank of fog, and that could have an impact on fireworks displays, with Bayside high temperatures on the 4th only in the mid 60s. And at the coast, well, as the marine layer gets deeper and deeper, the fog gets really stubborn. We'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine this weekend, more clouds by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then plenty of fog by Thursday and for the 4th of July. A foggy 4th in store for us, Sarah.
All right, we'll be prepared for it, at least. The blocked view for sure. Redecorate your place for free. Up next, what's behind this furniture giveaway in the East Bay, and the story of a woman who gave up her home to live on a cruise ship. Oakland's International Airport is changing its name again. The Port of Oakland announced it will be called the Oakland San Francisco Bay Airport. Officials say it puts Oakland first while highlighting its central location in the Bay Area. The board will consider adopting the new name during its July 10th meeting, but just last year it was renamed San Francisco Bay Oakland International Airport. And you might remember the city of San Francisco sued for trademark infringement, saying it was likely to cause confusion about airports for passengers. A judge temporarily blocked the use of that name. The San Francisco City Attorney's Office says it just learned about the new name, and they say they are assessing next steps to ensure SFO's trademark is protected. All right, read what you will into that. It is a deal every shopper looking for a bargain can get behind. Free Furniture Fridays are back at Habitat for Humanity's Restore Concord. Shoppers can take home anything with a purple tag for free, including couches, desks, home decor, and other household goods at the store. We talked to Veronica, who says interactions between other shoppers have been good so far, even if they both had their eye on the same thing.
Feels very community oriented. Everybody's happy. So I even made friends with somebody who took the love seat for the couch I got. Oh, okay. And they're going to call me if they decide to not keep it. So.
Habitat for Humanity says the giveaway allows them to clear up inventory for new donations. Imagine retiring on a cruise ship. 77-year-old Sharon Lane from California is doing just that. She moved into the Via V Odyssey in mid-June. She's been traveling the world ever since. She even made a stop here in the Bay Area, as you saw. Cabins are sold on a permanent basis starting at $129,000. Lane says while it's not cheap, it beats California's cost of living. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are not worried about the cost of living. They tied the knot today in a highly talked about wedding. Glimpses of them and their very famous guests next. Amazon founder and very, very rich man Jeff Bezos has tied the knot with former TV anchor Lauren Sanchez. They got married in Venice, Italy. This photo of them went up on the bride's Instagram right after the ceremony. And here is Mr. Bezos on a boat in his tux, waving to his people. maybe to fans, presumably before the ceremony. The wedding drew some controversy. Groups protested it. A-listers like Oprah Winfrey and the Kardashians were spotted there today. They were among the 200 guests invited. Venetian officials say the wedding has been a boom for business and there were no negative impacts. I guess depends on who you ask. Thanks for watching. The news continues at 8 on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12. I'll see you back here at 11 p.m.